reporting there. Now, the race is on to be the first deputy leader of Welsh Labour. The job has just been created, and the rules say if the leader is a man, the deputy has to be a woman. And two women have thrown their hat into the ring to be Carwyn Jones as number two. We hope to speak to Caroline Harris in the coming weeks, but this week it's the turn of her opponent, the Cardiff North AM, Julie Morgan. Thanks very much for coming in. Good morning to you. First of all, why do you think Welsh Labour needs a deputy? You've done quite well until now. Why does the role need to be created now?
I think it's important to have two people at the top as leader and deputy leader, and with the rules we brought in, we'll be able to have one must always be a woman, and I think that's very good because we need to have a leadership that reflects the public, where which women can relate to. So I think it's been very good in order to make the leadership more representative of the country. So I think that's one of the main advantages.
And sort of what's your pitch going to be? You know, this is a job interview element of it.
Yeah,
what will you be bringing to the role then?
Well, first of all, I'm the only woman, possibly the only person who's been a councillor, who's been an assembly member, is an assembly member at the moment, and who's been an MP. And I don't think there's anybody else who's had that experience in Wales. Maybe the only person, let alone the only woman. So I do bring experience and knowledge of those three different areas. And I think it's very important that we don't think in silos of AMs, MPs, local government, that we want to work together and be together. And I think I'm in a unique position to do that.
But those silos do exist to an extent, and I wonder, wouldn't it be better if the deputy was a member of Parliament? Since the leader is in the Assembly, wouldn't it be better then to have the deputy in Parliament? Well,
if you did that, you would restrict that to an even smaller number of people. I mean, as it is now, I think it's been restricted to about 58 people who can actually apply to be the deputy. I think the important thing is what the job is and what you can do with the job, rather than whether you're an AM or an MP or a local government leader. But I must say, I do regret the fact that there isn't a local government leader on the ballot paper, because I think that would have been a great advantage.
And Debbie Wilcox, the leader of Newport Council, leader of the Welsh Local Government Association, was going to stand, but she stood down and is now supporting you. But what will you be bringing to the role then? What is your pitch? Why should they vote for you?
Well, as I say, I bring the experience, but I also have the experience of holding a very marginal seat in Cardiff North. I fought that seat and kept that seat Labour on and off most of the time, and we have to campaign for every single vote there. So I can bring a campaigning ability. And in the last Welsh Assembly elections, I had the highest number of votes for any individual candidate in Wales.
But what would be the point of, what's the point of the role then? Campaigning, you think, is what it's about?
Yes, I think campaigning is part of it. And one of the key points is to engage the 25,000 members, because we have been very successful in Wales. We've been very successful throughout the UK. But we do have 25,000 members, huge number of people, lots of potential. And I want to work with them. I want to harness all their energies and abilities, and I want them to feel that it's really meaningful to be a member of the Labour Party. So that's, I see, my main aim is to work with the members.
But how will you do that then?
Well, in Cardiff North, I've got a red gazebo, and I go around to every part of Cardiff North, putting up the red gazebo, trademark, and seeing people, discussing their issues, and that's what I would do all over Wales. I'd go all around Wales with the red gazebo, talk to members, talk to the public, find out what are the key issues they want us to campaign on.
And
so it would be a consultative group. I would certainly do that with the members as well, because the members are spread out all over Wales, and I think it's really important that we act on an all-Wales level. Consult the members, meet with all the members, decide what are the important issues about them, and make them feel that the party is there for them to fulfil their dreams and wishes, why they came to the party.
Well, what happens if the message that you get from the membership is at odds with what the leadership is doing? You know, are you Carwyn Jones's voice to the members, or the members' voice to Carwyn Jones?
I see that as not really a conflict at all, because
but it could be, couldn't it?
The important point of the post is to give the members that potential, that way of saying what they feel. And inevitably there's conflict. I mean, there's always conflict whenever you form ideas and policy, and it's a good thing there is. And I would see myself as being the sort of conduit that would enable that to happen.
You said as well that you know that there will be inevitably divisions within the party.
Yeah.
How will you manage those divisions, and how do you make sure that there's a sort of a united front for the party?
Well, you make sure that there's democracy is embedded in the party, so that everybody has a chance to have a fair say. And then you vote on things democratically, you have the opportunity to discuss things at length, and I think people can always accept if their point of view doesn't come forward, as long as there's been a fair chance for them to be listened to.
But what do you think the membership in Wales is made up of? Is it people that have joined because of Jeremy Corbyn and that sort of Corbynista element, or is it because of the track record of Welsh Labour in Wales? Because they're probably two different things, aren't they?
Well, it's both. I mean, we have got a really good track record in Wales. We only have to look at what happened to the Labour Party in Scotland. Welsh Labour has, kept its identity as being Welsh, and it's been very successful. Some of the new members certainly have come because of the Corbynista bounce, and they've, and it's great that they've joined. And I would want to represent every one of those members, anyone who is a Labour Party member, whether they're a long-standing member in Wales or whether they joined recently as a result of Corbyn. But I think, as well as Corbyn, it would be the result of our success in Wales. It often isn't one or the other.
You said earlier on that it's important that the deputy is a woman because women in politics can relate to you then. I just wonder how you feel about the role and how safe a place is politics for women in Wales at the moment.
Well, this is something that we have to explore. Obviously, it is a very sensitive subject, and we've had a very difficult time in the Assembly with all these issues that have come up. But I think it's essential that the role of the deputy, particularly as at this time the deputy will be a woman, to look at whether it is safe in the party for women in Wales.
Do you think it is?
So that's something that we need to discuss. I know that women have expressed concerns, individual concerns, so I think it would be the role of the deputy to explore that and find out how women feel. I mean, traditionally, it always has been difficult for women in political parties, all political parties, because they've always been male-dominated. Women have never had a fair share, really, in any political party. And I would want to see my role, if I was the deputy, to see that their voices were heard and that they did feel safe. And if they didn't feel safe, we'd have to do something about it.
And as you mentioned, of course, there are sensitivities in Wales because of what happened with the issues surrounding Carl Sargent there. But to what extent do you think that the Assembly and politics in Wales has fallen behind that which is happening in Westminster, where they seem to be taking more action in terms of making politics safer for women?
There certainly is action in Westminster, but I've been in Westminster and I've been in the Assembly, and I know that certainly when I was in Westminster there was far more overt sexism operating there than there was in the Assembly, and I think that's been helped by the fact that there's always been a really good balance of women in the Assembly. So I think Westminster has taken steps, and I think that there have been steps taken in the Assembly, and I certainly welcomed the statement by the presiding officer last week about respect. I think that was very important, and all the party leaders have signed up to it. So certainly things are happening, but there's a lot more to do. There's a lot more to do in that whole field, and I would see that as one of my priorities.
Yeah, well, look, thank you very much for coming in. Plenty of campaigning on the way for you, but for the moment, thanks very much for coming in.
Thank you.
And that's it for another week. Wales Live is on Wednesday evening at 10:30, but for now, that's all from me in Cardiff. Diolch am wylio. Thanks very much for watching. It's time to go back to Sarah in London.